Hey everyone, it's Sammy from Push Square, and this is a game called KONA, which is out on the PlayStation 4 today. Now, this is another one of those games that happens so often these days where it arrives on the PlayStation Store and I don't actually know much about it, so I thought I'd capture the opening minutes of gameplay to give you a good idea of what you can expect if you decide to pick it up for yourself. It reminds me a little bit of Firewatch from what I've played. It's set in the 70s and you play as an investigator, and it's kind of got a little bit of a walking simulator vibe to it, but there do appear to be a few more systems here in that you have to keep your character warm, you have to keep his mental sort of strength up and stuff like that. It seems really interesting so far. The performance is a bit poor on the PS4, I'd say. I've noticed a bit of stutter and some weird stuff going on, but I like the idea, I like the narration that goes on as you play the game, and I'm interested to experience more. I will check out more, and we are going to have a review on the site in a few days' time, so do come back and check that out. But in the meantime, thank you so much for checking out the gameplay, and let me know what you think of it in the comments section.
Ever since he returned from Korea, after having served with the armed forces, he had been working as a private investigator in Montreal. William Hamilton, a rich industrialist, had gotten in touch with him regarding a simple vandalism issue. Nothing to write home about. Not worth hiring a private eye either, just so he can drive for hours on rough roads. But that's how it had always been. The client pays, Carl gets it done. They had set up to meet at the general store, his client's business. Well, actually, the entire village had William Hamilton's name written all over it. The roads were bad, muddy, or snowed in, it was customary around these parts to close them off. But it was also customary to ignore those signs entirely and drive there anyway. Hamilton never mentioned a road-blocking barrier. Why was it needed here in the back of Beyond? That would, however, be a mystery for another day. Carl had waited long enough for someone to come and raise it. Still not a soul in sight. There was no point in waiting any longer. Carl had to figure this one out by himself. Hamilton is waiting for Carl in the general store. It was time for him to get down to business. William Hamilton enjoyed a lavish country house built in the very heart of the northern forests, not too far from here. The local populace was divided when it came to the affluent man. Some saw a wealthy philanthropist dedicated to improving the region's economy. Others, an aging Englishman who would do anything to further his fortunes. And those ones hated him enough to go on about scheming against him. Hamilton had recently acquired a few local businesses, but the last straw was the reopening of a mine, which gave rise to a wave of protests and threats from the Cree people. Given these circumstances, Carl reckoned that a good number of people must be feeling compelled to oppose Hamilton in one way or another. So far, only the industrialist's house had been a target, but soon enough, Carl thought, the target would become the man himself. Carl needed to get out of there. The cold and the pain required urgent care. The driver had taken off. It was still best to check it out and leave nothing to chance. Carl needed help. It was a small, locked box engraved with the letters W.H. Carl thought about taking it. Nothing was to be left to chance. Such heart-wrenching Nordic poetry that was. But Carl didn't care much about flowery language. Scratches did not stop Carl. His mother would be so proud. This deep in the country, his last hope was to find an abandoned garage or a farm by the roadside. His life depended on it. Carl, ever diligent in his work, always carried his log on him, in which he scribbled down thoughts and leads alike during the course of his investigations. Carl wondered how long he would have to endure this skin-stinging cold. Cold turned into pain. Carl needed to find someplace warm.